Now at 10, new details emerge concerning a Macon murder between a grandfather and grandson. Plus, students and buildings both at Missouri Southern suffer under the steamy summer sun. And Lamar celebrates 80 years of the largest free fair in Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A grandfather charged with killing his grandson in Crawford County requests a bond reduction. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Elise Noe. Authorities charged John Fox with the second-degree murder of Ian Fox, the suspect's grandson. The incident happened on August 7th in Macon, Kansas. According to court documents, both parties were playing pool in the basement of a residence on 709 5th Street in Macon. John Fox left the residence after saying he no longer wanted to play. Ian Fox also eventually went outside. Approximately 20 to 30 minutes later, John Fox came back into the house and said, quote, "I shot Ian." Prosecutors argue due to the serious nature of the charges, it's sufficient to hold him on his current bond. A Southeast Kansas woman enters a plea deal for the death of her 2-month-old infant. Rebecca Dobbs of Gas, Kansas entered a plea of no contest in involuntary manslaughter, which means she accepted the conviction as though she entered a guilty plea, but not admitting guilt. In 2022, prosecutors charged Dobbs with first-degree murder and aggravated endangering of a child. In June 2023, prosecutors amended the murder charge to involuntary manslaughter. This week's plea deal dismissed the aggravated endangering of a child charge. The court scheduled a sentencing date of November 6, 2023. And a Cherokee man learns his sentence for a non-fatal hit and run that happened in Pittsburgh last year. On Thursday, a judge sentenced Brian Walrod to 8 months in prison. Walrod will then serve 18 months probation. The judge also ordered Walrod to pay more than $30,000 in restitution to the victim who survived the hit and run. The hit and run happened on October 28, 2022, in the 1400 block of East 14th Street. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with a first look at weather.
All right, well, we survived the week with the heat wave in place. We just have another day or so before the really cool weather starts to move in. This afternoon was just blistering hot, 104 in Stockton, 102 in Garnett, 98 in Fredonia, many places at or above 100, including Joplin. And so far this summer, we had 2 days in June, 5 days in July, so that's 7. And then we added 7 more in the month of August alone, including today. So we've had 2 weeks of 100 plus so far this summer. But relief is in sight. We have storms up to the north and west. That's going to form into a complex that will roll our way as we go into the day tomorrow. So scattered showers and storms are going to be possible. But tonight, mostly fair with lows in the 76 range. And then looking down the lane, we have storms tomorrow. And then especially in the Sunday morning, much cooler next week. But unfortunately, the heat may return. And I'll tell you about that in just a little bit.
We'll check in with you soon. Thanks, Sam. While people in the 4 states battle the extreme summer heat, remember, our furry friends are battling it too. A wild Mustang named Trinity is known for healing hearts at Trinity Circle Equestrian Therapy in Goodman, Missouri. Due to this heat, Trinity developed an abscess in his gut. Trinity's owner, Don Newland, believes the heat stressed his system so much that the abscess ruptured.
We've canceled clients this week because it's just too hot and we don't need to lose another horse or a human. We had one almost pass out one day and we had one get sick one day, so we're trying to take care of the horses and our clients.
A constant cool breeze and cooling baths are some ways to keep horses cool in the heat. Some Missouri Southern buildings and AC units are struggling to keep up with the extreme heat hitting the 4 states. During the first week of the fall semester, some classes were canceled and others were held online. Other professors moved their classes to cooler classrooms and buildings. Welcoming events also had to be relocated.
Well, certainly this taxes all of our systems across the spectrum, and we work very hard. Our facility services teams works hard around the clock to ensure that everything is in working order and that folks have what they need to kick off the semester on the right foot, and we continue to do so.
I'm comfortable to be in the hot classroom. Yes, I couldn't practice in my study so much. Nice.
Upstairs is our ball.
The university is also adopting other strategies to make sure students are healthy inside and out. The McDonald County School District today broke ground on 2 new projects. The first is a classroom addition and storm shelter at White Rock Elementary in Pineville. The second project is at Southwest City Elementary, where they are rebuilding a new classroom addition and bathroom facility. The projects are being paid by a voter-approved bond, and they are expected to be completed by the end of the school year. The largest free fair in Missouri is taking place in Lamar, Missouri. And the fair celebrates its 80th year with a complete takeover of downtown Lamar. Carnivals, vendors of all kinds, queen contest, community and civic group booths featuring your favorite carnival food, and most importantly for some fairgoers, a livestock show. Fairgoers can also expect a parade tomorrow. Coming up, fair season continues in the 4 states. KOAM's Anthony Saviello takes us to the Lamar Food Fair, where the animals may have been the true stars of the event. Plus, Friday night means football in the 4 states. We take a look at all the area gridiron matchups later in sports. Kansas confirms multiple cases of West Nile virus in horses across the state. The Kansas Department of Agriculture Division of Animal Health has confirmed cases in Barber, Butler, Douglas, and Pratt counties. All of the confirmed cases of West Nile virus in Kansas were in unvaccinated horses or horses with an unknown vaccination history. West Nile virus can be fatal in horses. If you see symptoms of West Nile virus in your horse, contact your veterinarian immediately. This is a preventable disease with annual vaccinations that have proven highly effective. Kids at the Lamar Free Fair brought out their best, but they weren't the stars. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has the story.
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you what it's like to be a pig?
While Bacon Boy may not be in the mood to talk, I got to meet a few kids at the Lamar Free Fair who were.
You have a huge piece of watermelon here.
I might not finish it, yeah.
You might not finish it?
Yeah.
Well, if you take it, you have to finish it.
I don't think you have to finish it.
Paisley, in particular, was one of the more entertaining kids I got to meet. She took part in the sheep show out here at the fairgrounds, and wouldn't you know, she's actually one of the champions.
I'm actually thankful that I get to do this.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it?
This is actually my first year, but last year I did the Pee Wee show.
First year, and you're already a champion.
Yeah,
That's pretty amazing. And you're he's stealing the championship from you.
Yeah, she sure is.
Seems like her sheep are a little jealous of all the attention she's getting. However, they didn't have much to say.
Can you tell me what it's like to be a champion? How about you? Can you tell me?
Nor did any other animal at the fair.
Excuse me, miss. If you weren't a sheep, what kind of animal would you be? What's your favorite part about being a cow? Can you tell me what it's like to be a cow?
Even after Paisley tried.
Would you like to talk to me? Would you? What's your favorite color? You won't talk to me?
Not just a champion, but a reporter in the making. Reporting in Lamar, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
The fair will continue until tomorrow and will end at 11 p.m. A little later, it's a big night for area football. John kicks off the latest edition of Friday Night Football in just a few minutes.
Well, the heat wave is coming to an end. I know a lot of folks are happy about that, including myself. We need some precipitation as well. and we'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's start out this morning where it was still very humid and mild across the area, including Seneca, Missouri, within the Ghost Sky Casino and Resort. And as we headed through the afternoon, bright sunny skies allowed temperatures to really warm up. And then we saw some thunderstorms developing in some isolated spots and introduced a little bit of cloud cover and also a little bit of cooler temperatures. But we still made it up to 101 in Joplin today after starting out at 76, which of course was way above the normals of 89 and 67. In fact, we tied the record back in 1983 of 101 degrees, and of course we're still way behind on the rainfall. Speaking of rainfall, radar is pretty clear over our immediate area, but notice out to the west we have a complex of storms developing in north central and central Kansas, and this is slowly moving in our direction, and that is good news. We definitely need the rainfall to help us cool us off as well as alleviate the drought just a little bit. Temperatures right now are still very mild. 85 in Carthage, 83 in Nevada, as well as Iola, 83 in Veneta, 79 rain cool degrees down in Jay though. But look at these dew points. This has been the story the entire heat wave. With these dew points in the mid to upper 70s and lower 80s, it made it feel so much more worse out there. Right now we're still seeing dew points in the mid to upper 70s, which of course is the soupy category on our dew point tracker. And as a result also, the heat indexes are still very high. Still feels like 91 in Nowata, 92 in Yates Center, 89 in Stockton, and 94 is what it feels like right now in Commerce. Now tomorrow, the heat's going to be back again, but not as far as temperatures go, but in what it feels like. It's going to feel like still low 100s for northeastern Oklahoma and a large part of southwestern Missouri, but 90s up towards the north. Rain chances are going to be increasing over the next 36 hours, and it looks like tomorrow night into early Sunday morning, that's when the best chance of showers and storms are going to be. Rainfall amounts, unfortunately, are going to be light with this particular system. Maybe an isolated area will get a heavier storm or two, but most folks will get just very little precipitation with this system. It's weak, but at least it's bringing in some cooler air from the north and west, and also drier air, which is going to make it feel so much more comfortable. So tonight, lows in the mid 70s with the front up to the north and west. Then it sails through during the day tomorrow with temperatures in the upper 80s, lower 90s with scattered storms. And then as we go into Sunday morning, lows in the 70s, and then Sunday afternoon, looking pretty good. Temperatures only in the lower 80s and northeasterly winds. And over the next 7 days, the nice weather continues right through the entire week with highs only in the 80s and lows in the 50s. And then unfortunately, Elise, it looks like the heat wave may try to come back next week. Maybe not with a vengeance, but it may be coming back.
Well, let's enjoy it while we can.
That's right.
Thanks, Sam. Well, Sam and I are getting out of here, so we can turn it over to John. Friday night football action straight ahead.
You're watching 4-State Friday Night, proudly sponsored by GN Bank, Crawcan, Sticklin and Sticklin Law Firm, and Macco Builders.
Hey, and welcome into a new edition of 4-State's Friday Night. For the first time in the 2023 football season, we bring you highlights, scores, everything you need to know from area football games. Now, football season is here. We've got a slew of games to bring to you. Week 1 in Missouri starts tonight. Week 0 in Oklahoma. Our KOAM sports team was out all the way across the 4 states, getting highlights of every game and getting all the action you need to know. We're going to start things out with our game of the week. It's a game I was actually at over at Lamar. The Tigers entering this game as defending state runner-ups for 2 years running. They're playing the same team they started the year against last year, Marshfields. And again, 2 consecutive runner-up finishes for Lamar in Class 2. Already leading 7-0 when Ian Googie takes this pitch on the option, rumbles down the sideline, reaches out for the pylon and gets knocked out. The ball comes free, but they'd score in the very next play because he stepped out of bounds. 21-0 Lamar at this point. Kickoff goes to Hunter Fryman, the deep man for Marshfield. He coughs it up, runs into trouble, and the Tigers land on it. They would take over the football again and go right to work. That's quarterback Alex Wilkerson. Take a look at this hit that he takes and keeps going. 2 different defenders all over him. Very next play, it set things up on the jet sweep. Aiden Sheet takes it, goes into the end zone. Lamar led 28-0 at that point. They would go on to take a 61-14 lead at halftime. So Lamar looks like it's well on its way to a 1-0 start. And again, a lot of these games that we're bringing you tonight, we don't have the final score for every one of them because the heat in the area has forced a lot of 7 p.m. start times to get pushed back to 8 o'clock. Well, another game that got pushed back to 8 o'clock, it pits a couple of Big 8 rivals against each other, like the ones we just saw. This one, though, is McDonald County against Mount Vernon. Two teams hungry to make a statement to start the year. Two teams we visited in the preseason. Each said they had a ton of expectations for this year's senior-laden squads. They met in Week 1 last season. That's a game the Mountaineers won 31-7. So McDonald County opening their season at home. They got something to prove after getting beat badly last year. Again, in Week 1, we start with the very first play from scrimmage. Let's get to it. Gavin Johnston connects with Jarrett Zerby on the fade play. How about that? Dialing up the fade on the first play of the game. Then, one play later, Johnston to Braxton Horton. He does the rest. This looks similar to last season. 32 yards into the end zone. Mount Vernon strikes first. It's 7-0 at that point. But here's McDonald County's turn. Late in the first quarter, Destin Dowd over to Josh Pacheco. He delivers a big stiff arm. You don't see many like that at the high school level. Later in the drive, 4th and 12, and Dowd finds Pacheco open in the slant route in the end zone. Touchdown, McDonald County. Mustangs tie things up 7-7 going into halftime. Last check we got of that score, 13-13 in the fourth quarter. So another game in the area, Nevada playing host to Springfield Catholic. The Tigers starting the season off in style at home. They took a 31-0 lead into halftime. Second half, more of the same. We talked to Nevada earlier this week. They knew their offensive line and defensive line was good, but how about that defense as a whole? Holding the Fighting Irish to no points in the first half, no points in the second half. Tigers win 56-0. I tell you what, Nevada is going to be a real tough team to beat in the Big 8 this year. Plenty of Big 8 action that we just went through. A lot of good teams in that conference. Another conference that I'm sure you're yelling at your TV right now. Hey, what about the COC? Well, that's a loaded conference this year as well. Maybe one of the best teams in there is Joplin. The Eagles head to Branson to open their season. Eagles paying a visit to the Pirates, and they strike first in the first quarter after a long drive. David Thomas gets around the end to the left side. He's got the angle, and he's got the speed for 6. Now Branson needs to bounce back. They get a long drive of their own, and the Pirates do cash in. Look at that. Luke McCormick right up the gut and into the end zone. We're tied up. So now it's Joplin's turn to respond. Hobbs Gooch, second-year starter at quarterback, swing pass to Quinn Renfro. He turns upfield, and man, that guy is dangerous in the open space. Takes it to the house. More of the same from that point. Joplin all over Branson. The Eagles win at 35-14. Now another game in the area, Quapaw against Salina. Quapaw opening its season well. That defense showing out. Only points that Salina has scored to the last time we checked was 2 on a safety. The Wildcats, again, it's a defensive battle in that contest. Last time that we saw, it was Austin Lake's third quarter touchdown pass to Zane Stand that put the Wildcats up 12-2. That's where things stood at that point. Now we've also got a crossover matchup tonight. We've showed you a whole lot of Missouri schools. Talked about Oklahoma, week 0 for Oklahoma high school. So basically what that means is they can play, and if they do choose to play, they get an extra bye week later in the year. One of the teams that opted to play in week 0 in Oklahoma is Commerce. They play Sarcoxie. Friday Night Football continues over the state border into Oklahoma. Now, Sarcoxie quarterback Blake Heckmaster gets things started early. He believes he sees an open receiver, but it's actually the Commerce defense that gets things started into the hands of Commerce defensive back Kalen White. And he just doesn't want to go down at that point. Reverses field, goes down to the other side, and his defense is rewarded. Check out that WWE title belt he gets for getting the interception. Now later on, running back Daniel Nino bursts through the line of scrimmage, bats away a couple of defenders, and just does not go down. Takes 4 or 5 to tackle him. Little fumble of the snap. Later on, as the toss to the running back Antonio Benito, he makes a quick move. This is for Sarcoxie. Stop and spin not once. We're still scoreless at this point. Now Sarcoxy draws first blood. Handoff to running back Noah Garrison. They go up 7-0 to close the first quarter. Last check of that score, 14-7. Sarcoxy takes the lead into the fourth quarter. Another local squad at home tonight, East Newton. The Patriots come into this year kind of lower expectations. Don't have many seniors on their roster. They've just struggled playing in the Big 8 conference, really tough conference. They go down early. They stayed around. This was a game that we were following in the KOAM newsroom. Hung around, but Logan Rogersville, just their defense too strong for the Patriots in this one. They end up losing 28-0. Patriots start the year at 0-1, but again, a little bit deceiving, a little closer than 28-0 maybe than it looks like. Well, that's it for our first check of the scores all across the area. When we come back, we got a whole lot more for you. It's 4 States Friday Night. Hey, welcome back into 4 States Friday Night, first edition here in 2023. We're rolling along right to Webb City, beginning the Ryan McFarland era on the road at Nixa. Now let's head to Nixa. Webb City Cardinals starting the season with a tough COC matchup against them. And Nixa scores on the first drive of this game. Webb responds though. Third down for the Cards and Braden McKee airs one out down the sideline. He finds Joseph Graffenried for the first down. Few plays later, Webb City into the red zone. Taking Brecken Gallardo goes into the end zone. He dives in for 6, extra point good. Webb City up 7-6 at that point. In the second, Nixa up 14-7. They get a huge fourth down stop. And Webb City, last time we checked that score, down 7 with just 2 minutes left in the fourth. Another local team at home tonight, Monette. Cubs ran into trouble early, but big time comeback. Last check of that score, they've scored 21 unanswered. They are trailing 33-28. They were down 33-7. So they score 3 touchdowns in a row and are right back in it. Now let's head over to Carl Junction, where the Bulldogs beginning the second stint under head coach Hafner. Bulldogs taking on the Ozark Tigers. Fans are excited for this one, and an early drive from Ozark gets them into good scoring position. That's quarterback Peyton Russell throwing to his tailback Jack Bowers, gets a ton of yardage down the field. And on the next play, Russell finds his receiver Sam Clark, goes out of bounds right near the goal line. Ozark in prime position. They go right back to Bowers. He gets into the end zone for the touchdown here. Ozark takes the early lead. Now for Carl Junction, Marcus Lopez-Derman breaks off a massive Carl Junction run before being stopped at midfield by Tiger. Later on, quarterback Dexter Merrill rumbles in from the goal line, brings it to a 14-7 game. Last time we saw that, it's all Ozark, winning 36-14. Another team on the road tonight, Neosho. They trail 14-0. Last time we saw that one. Carthage, another team on the road as well. Tough battle for them against Republic, and they lost that contest. Carthage loses on the road at Republic 20-14. It was a back and forth game. They trailed 20-7 in the fourth quarter. They battled back in the final seconds, but again, final score in that contest, 20-14. Now, big first night of games all around. Another local game, Seneca and Aurora. Indians all over the Hound Dogs, 36-0 in the last check of that score. Seneca looks like it's well on its way to starting 1-0. Another contest we have in the area, El Dorado Springs taking on Forsyth. They're down 20-6 in that one. Liberal against Drexel in an 8-man contest. Drexel leads 42-20 in the third quarter, and again, Forsyth up 20-6. That's a halftime score in that one. In another 8-man game tonight, College Heights starts the year off in style, 44-6. They take a lead into the third quarter, end of the third quarter at that. Safe bet to say that the Cougars start the season with a win. Another Oklahoma game tonight, Welch destroys Coffeyville. Wildcats up 44-0. Just a couple minutes left. They end up winning 44-0 at the end of that one. Well, folks, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you. That does it for our first edition of 4 States Friday Night here on KOAM. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here next Friday night.